Hey, what's up, guys? Hope you guys had a great weekend. Give you guys some time to come in. I'm actually going to also go on here and change this to public because it didn't do that last time. That way you can share. Sweet. Awesome. So, I just wanted to take some time to give you guys an update, say a lot of thank yous, and just share where we're at with the book, The One Up Effect. Live life like you found an extra one. But before I do, I just want to give shout outs to so many people who bought the book. I've been messaging people personally, reaching out to them saying thank you. But for those who recently bought it in the past 24 hours, I have not. And so I wanted to take the time to say thank you to Scott Silverstone, Holly McNamara, Mikhail Pradia, Stephanie Simpson White, Jeff Cassidy, those last two, BLS, high school classmates of mine. So grateful, so appreciative of you guys for just putting in some support and getting this going. I was able to check in and see that my book right now on the publishing platform is #1 in mindfulness and happiness. And so that is great. I love that. And it's really interesting because I remember when I was filling out the proposal, I didn't really think about like that I would have a book in the mindfulness happiness area, to be completely honest. And it's been great. Absolutely loving it. And one thing I wanted to share with you today is so far we have I think we have almost 50 pre-orders so far, which is great. Still has some ways to go, but right now I'm just feeling good about the momentum that's been created. Every time I come in live, I want to share a little bit about where I'm at with the book, in terms of the pre-order campaign, acknowledge those who have actually put in some, energy towards pre-orders, but also share a little bit more about the book, why I'm writing it, what angles, what things are going to be included in it, and what I hope to inspire in the people who get a chance to read these books, this book. And so the one thing I want to go over is this idea that gaming in general gets so many different interpretations and reputations, and people just have like their own stories around gaming. I remember being a little kid growing up, my mom, I could tell my mom was pretty reluctant about bringing video games into my life just because she saw how addictive they are. But the truth is she also wanted me to stay home so I didn't get in trouble. So she was willing to do that. And for me, video games was never a place to escape the real world. It was never something to numb or sedate my emotions. It really was a primary source of my creativity. It was really a source of openness and peace and expression in a way that I never experienced before. Being able to assume the character of someone inside of a virtual world and go through this hero's journey, and reach the destination, whatever that may be, whether it's rescuing the princess from the castle, to being the highest version of themselves, to beating a boss at the end of any level, or saving the world, whatever that may be. It was always fun to just be in that experience, be so immersive. And of course, what was also really great is that, I had a lot of neighbors who, at the time, who loved video games. And so getting together and playing video games was so fun. And I also remember times when I was a little kid where I would invent games. I would have a tennis ball, and I would have those paper towel rolls, and I would play it like bowl. I would bowl down the hallway in my house. I would play, I would do so many different types of things, playing catch with myself. I would do like extreme catch, where I'd like throw the ball as high as I possibly could and do some type of crazy catching maneuver as if I was playing in the NFL. I would race to see how fast I could get around the block on my bike, or how fast I can, go down the street on my bike. I remember we used to get like we just have speedometers on our bikes, and we'd go down the biggest hill we could find in our neighborhood and try to see if we can hit 35 miles per hour. And that for us was like a game. And I reflect back on that, and it made me realize how much we all are gamers. I think people think when they think of gaming, they think of, oh, like we're picking up a controller, or we're immersing ourselves with VR, or we're playing games on our phones, or you're a gamer if you have a PC setup or whatever. Those are a part of it, and that's not all of it. Here's some things that people don't necessarily realize. Like the majority of gamers actually are represented by women. Women are actually the biggest representation of gamers in the world. Casual gaming is gaming, but I also want you to consider the idea that like anything that we think of that could be mundane, that we find a way to make it fun, is typically through some type of game structure that we create. Countless times that we've seen or experienced where we're trying to think of a design idea of something, and then it doesn't work, we ball it up, and then we shoot and we throw it into a wastebasket. After a while, it becomes this game. You kind of see like the wastebasket with the pile of crumpled up pieces of paper. Maybe some of them are in, some of them are out, but that becomes a game. Maybe it's, you realize you have to go into the supermarket and you don't necessarily want to go or be in there. So you decide, all right, let's see how fast I can get in and out of this place. That becomes a game. All of a sudden, you're not thinking about the anxiety or the obligation of having to go into the supermarket to get groceries. You're actually making it a little bit more feasible, a little bit more tolerable, dare I say, fun to go there. Maybe you pull up Google Maps and you're trying to get to a certain place and it says it will take you 35 minutes. And you're like, I can get there in 25, So you totally go ahead and you do that. Maybe when you're cleaning up your house, maybe you find different ways to make it fun, whether it's playing music or deciding the structure in which you're going to clean up that particular room. If you're Swiffering, are you going to do up and down, or you're going to do sideways? What's going to be the most efficient? After a while, like when we start to think about these mundane tasks and we find ways to make it fun, we don't realize this, but we typically make this into a game. And so even people who play do the crossword puzzles, and they, the New York Times crossword puzzle, right, is a great example. They like to do the Monday all the way through Sunday, because Monday is typically the easiest. Sunday typically is the hardest, right? And the same thing for Sudoku. In most papers, Monday is the easiest, Sunday is the hardest. Word search, Scrabble, board games, like card games, solitaire. It doesn't matter if you're playing by yourself, you're playing with other people. If you find a way to have fun by making things a game, you are, in essence, a gamer. And the thing is, like, if we're trying to find ways to make life more fun by making it a game, why not we go all the way? Why not go all the way and make our entire lives a game? Because there are some places, and for many of us, a lot of places where our lives are not happy. We're not happy with where things are in our lives. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that we haven't found a way to make it fun. We haven't found a way to gamify it, where we actually can not only make it tolerable, but we can make it fun. And when we are able to make things fun and we can find more joy in those things, we tend to actually do better at those things. Our performance level actually increases. Our happiness level increases. Our mental health increases. Studies have shown that playing games has actually been tied to a higher state of mental health. When we think about how a lot of simulations to some of the most difficult and complex things that are being done in this world, such as highly technical surgeries, military simulations, space simulations, so many of these things, flight simulations, all these things are based on games to train and teach people in a simulated environment how they can perform at the highest level. A lot of pro athletes love playing video games, and whether some of them will say it, some of them may not, but from my personal experience, like that actually can translate to what happens actually on the field or on the court or on the pitch. And so using gaming as a way, as an overlay to enhance different parts of our lives, dare I say all of our lives, is something that we should at least give ourselves a shot. Um, my sister says life needs a power pellet like Pac-Man. Yes, right? In life, there are power-ups that exist that can give us temporary or permanent power in order to blast through a challenge that we may have or to just level up our lives in general. And these level ups exist throughout our lives. But how do we find them? How do we know that they exist? Where are they? And what are those power ups? How do we actually use them to level up our lives or to overcome a particular challenge? These are the things that I talk about inside the one up effect. Power ups, things, are things that we can generate ourselves just through daily activities, whether it's meditating, working out, being kind, showcasing empathy, increasing our value by learning something. These are all examples, but there's a particular way you can go about it that allows you to increase your power, or dare I say, discover a greater capacity of power that can lend itself for you to overcome any challenges that you are either put in front of you or that you declare for yourself. And these power-ups, once again, can be temporary and they can be permanent as well. And I'll share from personal experience, a lot of what I've learned in my life, especially over the past 2.5, 3 years, the power-ups that I experience, a lot of them don't go away. A lot of them stay. And it allows me to have an experience where the ceiling that I was once looking at now becomes the foundation that I'm standing on. And it allows me to have a high bar that when I meet it becomes the standard way of me to live life. And I do it in such a way that it brings me so much joy throughout the entire process. Doesn't mean I don't have challenges, doesn't mean there aren't dark periods or I have to go in and figure out more about myself and what these challenges mean for me. But even that process can be enjoyable if there's a structure that's there for you to do that. And I've just found over time that when we gamify a situation, it becomes more fun and it gives us the level of willingness, the level of curiosity, but also the level of repetition, the level of resilience that's required for us to go into ourselves and overcome either the internal or external challenges that are presented in our lives. When we gamify something or if we make things a game, we're not making light of the situation. We actually care even more because we're choosing to create a structure that allows us to put ourselves into it. And what I would love for the One Effect to offer and to inspire people to is to take the things that they're struggling with the most in their lives and put a lens of gaming around it and see what that could look like and how it could actually make their lives not only better from a performance standpoint, but from a place of fulfillment where they are left happier and more joyous and more free and more expansive than they ever have been. And so, yes, sis, like the power pellet, they are all around us and they're all available. And what I would love to do is to bring that world to you. And so I will post a link. Actually, do I have the link? I might have it. Let me see. Where is it? Boop. There we go. I'll post it here. Yes. And there you can pre-order a copy of the One Up Effect. It would mean the world to me. Still pushing out. I'm looking to get 500 pre-ordered copies. This is part of a contest that I've decided to enter inside of the publishing inside of the platform which I'm hosting this campaign. Where if I get to 500, I will have multiple publishers that will be able to take a look at my concept or my book and potentially offer me something that may allow this message to have a home. And so with your support, I would be able to not only have this message find a home, but be able to have a platform which I can expand this message so those who really need to hear it get to hear something like this in a way that maybe they can only understand. Gaming for me was always a language that I understood, and it was also a language that I would hide from people because I had all these stories that were either given to me or that I created myself that said, being a gamer is dorky and nerdy and immature and juvenile. And especially when I was in my 20s, the stories around video games got even more intense, right? You're a businessman. Like, you should not be spending time playing video games. What are you, still a child? You're an adult now. You should not be playing video games. All these things about why I shouldn't play video games ended up being the reason why I stopped. And I hid that. And in turn, the wingman persona existed, and the wingman doesn't play video games. The wingman's too cool for video games. And what I was too cool for was also the thing that made me happiest. And it was only a matter of time that not having that happiness in my life would lead me to a place where I had no happiness. And this is not something I want people to live by. And whether or not gaming is for you, or the concept of gaming is for you, it's okay if it's not. But being able to find your own lens in which you can view life in a way that makes it more fun and more fulfilling, while not worrying about having to sacrifice achievement or success or things that you want to go after in your life, that's the important message that I want to share with people. Gaming just happens to be the easiest way for me and how I live my life and how so many of my clients have been able to see things through. But the reality is, we deserve to have fun now. We deserve to be happy right now. And there's so many of us that are playing a game right now that is not designed for us to win. And while we might think we're winning, we're not happy. And any game that I'm playing where I'm not happy is not a game that I want to play. And so I want what I want this experience to be is something where people can actually see that they can be happy. They can see that they can be fulfilled. Where they can see that they can lead a meaningful life and still reach levels of achievement that they never thought was possible. But the only way to get there is to allow themselves to be happy, to be fulfilled, and to have meaning now. So, yeah, my sister says, like games, life has a pattern, and it's up to you to find the pattern, to change it, fix it, or create a better pattern to level up. Exactly. And that's one thing that I'm going to share in another live is, how do we notice those patterns? How do we look into those patterns? And how do we create a better pattern to level up? That's something that will be talked about inside the book, and I'll share like a preview of what that is in a future live. But yeah, like when you really look at, and I'll give you a little preview now actually, because I think it's fun. And I shared this a little bit before in the last live, but when we look at a basic game like Pac-Man, right? Like Pac-Man has only one actual like instruction, right? Move. You don't need to jump. You don't need to eat, because Pac-Man eats on its own. Like, the only thing that you are responsible for is Pac-Man's movement. And once you understand how to move inside of the puzzle that is Pac-Man, which is essentially the entire game itself, right? The entire game of Pac-Man is being able to move inside the puzzle without getting caught by the ghosts, right? So if you're able to understand that at a basic level, then it's only natural that the game will continue to increase in difficulty to see how much you've mastered that very basic foundational piece of this game. And the truth is, life works the same way. In life, there is a foundational way in which you can show up to life at the highest level. And while you do that, life naturally will increase its challenge to see how well you've mastered that basic foundational element of being yourself and showing up at the highest level. And you'll constantly be challenged. And to really bring it together, once you reach level 10 of Pac-Man, and let's say like level 10 becomes like the challenge for you, right? You're not able to go beyond level 10. Well, if you were to start that game back over, levels 1 through 9, maybe level 1 through 5, I'll be more conservative. Levels 1 through 5, you're not even going to think about. They're just a piece of cake, because you've mastered the foundational levels to such a degree where that's just not even an issue. 6 and 7 requires probably a little bit more brain power, but you got that. You're not even really worried, but you just want to make sure that you're attentive. 8 and 9, definitely a little bit more challenging, a little bit more brain power is required, but you trust the foundational elements that have brought you this far in order for you to get there. And thus, when you get to level 10, it might require the same level of foundational mastery, or it requires a little bit more for you to get there. And that's how life is in a general way, where you have these challenges that are set up to push you to your foundational limit. And when you pass that level, your foundational limit expands. And when you're able to see it this way, and you're able to add a layer where you can actually track and measure and see points on the board, see points on the scoreboard that's telling you, hey, you're winning this game. You're getting closer to leveling up in this part of your life. That's something that really excites people. People want to see that they got the high score in a game. That's a level of achievement that people want in their own personal lives. And so this is within itself the concept of what I'm bringing into the one-up effect, and being able to teach you what the one-up effect does for your life as you look at the different areas of your life and how you see the lens in this way where you not only can win the game, but also have fun playing. Because once again, it's not worth it if you're not having fun. So I can't wait to show you more. I can't wait to talk about it more. I can't wait to give you updates on the book itself. But please definitely go to the link. Definitely pre-order copies. Share this with your friends. Share this with family members. Share this with people that you know, whether it's clients, coworkers, your boss, management, people who you just know would be inspired and love to read something like this. Even if it's just for fun, maybe they might need it. Maybe they're struggling a little bit. This is the type of book for so many people, but mostly for those who feel like there's something missing in their lives. And some of these people have been very successful and been able to get to high levels of achievement. Yet, once that achievement has come and gone, there's still something a little bit missing, still something a little bit lacking, and they don't know what it is. This is the type of book that opens their eyes to what that void may be and how to fill it in a moment's notice. This was something that took me many, many years to realize. And the moment I was able to fill that void, spoiler alert, there was no void. I just had to see it. That changed everything for me. But I had to see it in such a different lens to allow me to actually see and experience that and to know that that's true. So if you know there's someone out there like that, please forward this to them. Let them know that they are not alone and that there is a way they can change their lives, and know that there is no void. There's only fun, happiness, and meaning. So hope you guys are doing well. Thanks so much for being here and checking in. And I'll see you guys again soon with another update. Bye.